Hello everybody and welcome to the shop. I'd be willing to bet that at least once a week I get asked by someone if I would do a sharpening video and show how I sharpen my tools. Now I'll be honest with you guys, I have started to do a video on sharpening at least 5 times, maybe 6, and it just seems so unnatural. The main reason why is I'm lucky in that I have a Wolverine sharpening system. I also have a Rikon grinder and CBN wheels. That setup is very expensive. It took me a number of years to acquire that. I bought the Wolverine system. I saved up and bought it. Then I saved up and bought the grinder, and then eventually the wheels. And because I have that, it makes sharpening super simple. It's just a matter of a few seconds, and I can put an edge on my tools that's unbelievable. And that's what makes me feel kind of bad about doing a sharpening video is the average person who's out there watching my videos, they don't necessarily have all this equipment, and I don't want them to think that you have to go out and buy this system and this grinder and these wheels. I'm not endorsing that. There are other ways to sharpen your system. So in my mind, it's always really unfair, number one. And number two, everything I know about sharpening, I went out to Craft Supply's website, which is where I bought the Wolverine system, and I watched their videos, 5-6 minute videos on each tool as this is how you sharpen a roughing gouge. And honestly, I do exactly what they say to do in the Craft Supply video, so I'm not bringing anything new to the sharpening experience. But since I get asked all the time, I am in need of sharpening my roughing gouge. This is my favorite tool. I use this tool probably 85-90% of the time. And because you guys have asked me so many times, I'm going to show you exactly what I do to sharpen this tool. Now, if you're familiar with the Craft Supply video, you're probably going to say, darn, that's a whole lot like what Craft Supply did. You're not really showing me anything new. Well, for that, I'm sorry, but you asked for it, you got it. This is my sharpening system. It consists of a Rikon 8-inch low-speed bench grinder. I've got that mounted to a board, and under each wheel, I have the Wolverine pockets mounted. And what these pockets do is they allow you to quickly remove and add jigs for sharpening. In this case, I've got a pocket jig, and we'll talk about that a little more in a second. The wheels I have on my grinder are CBN wheels. The one on the right is an 80 grit wheel, and I use that for shaping. The one on the left is a 220 grit wheel, and that's the one I use to put a nice edge on my tools. The way the pocket jig works is it's used to sharpen roughing gouges and similar tools. The way you do this is I like to take a red marker or black, it doesn't really matter, and I'll color in the bevel on the bottom of my tool. I'll lay the tool back in the pocket, and I'll adjust the rod in or out and lock it in place, and then I'll roll the wheel like this. Now when you look at the back of the wheel, you can see that I've got a straight line from top to bottom on the bevel of my tool, so that means it's properly set. If it only cleans off the ink at the bottom, you need to adjust it out. If it only cleans off the ink at the top, you need to adjust it back in. And sometimes you'll move it 2 or 3 times until you get it perfectly aligned to where you're sharpening at the proper angle. Lift the tool up off of the wheel so it's not touching, and we'll start the grinder. Wait a couple of seconds for it to come up to speed. And all you do is you take the tool starting at the center, drop it onto the wheel, and rotate one way, pick it up, drop it back on the wheel, rotate the other, and what you'll see is we have cleaned off all of the red ink. We have a very nice sharp edge on our tool, and you can feel the burr on the back of that tool. It is just razor sharp. This is ready to go to the lathe. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. As promised in the beginning, there's not a whole lot to it. It's pretty straightforward, and you can see I get a beautiful edge on my tool. This will cut wood or resin like hot butter. I really do enjoy the way that system sharpens. Now, I don't want to make you think you need to go out and buy that system. There are many other videos out there that teach sharpening on a budget And there's also the avenue of carbide tools, which will save you a ton of money. A system like that, and I hate to do this because I don't want it to sound wrong, but the Wolverine setup is about 200 bucks. The CBN wheels are about 150 a pop, and the Rikon grinder I purchased for $99 on sale at Woodcraft. So you're looking at about $600+ worth of equipment there to sharpen one tool. Now it does put an exceptional edge on it, but that's a lot of money for anybody to spend, and quite honestly, it took me many years. I acquired the tools piece by piece over the years, and I saved up for each one of them, so it took me a long time to put that together. So don't think you've got to rush out and buy exactly what Bob has so you can sharpen. There are many excellent videos out there on YouTube that show you how to sharpen on a budget or how to build that pocket jig. I've seen people build that pocket jig out of wood and get results just as good as I'm getting here. So guys, you asked for it. I hope you enjoyed it. That is how I sharpen my primary tool. There are a couple of other tools that I use. I don't use them very often, and most of the time I'm touching those up with diamond card files, so I very rarely go to the grinder for those. This is the only one that I consistently hit the 220 wheel with. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I want you to know that you are always welcome in my shop. Come back and see me again real soon, and have a great evening, everybody.